Welcome to another episode of Coffee Sessions with Pink and Queen.
Today we'll be discussing if purchasing a second property while holding on to your fully paid HDB is the best option for upgraders.
We met up with this couple who bought their first flat at $400,000 back in 2010, and today it has been fully paid up.
We met up to discuss the process of how they can move forward to buy their next property with their current savings on hand.
This couple had decent savings of $200,000 and wanted to use this amount to buy the next property.
The plan is to tenant out the HDB flat to collect rent to pay for the mortgage of the new property. Does this sound familiar to you?
This is actually the most common plan that Singaporeans have based on the interactions we have with our clients.
However, this may not be the most advantageous option for you. Let's have a look at what will happen if the couple decides to proceed with this plan.
There are two parts to take note of this. Part 1. There will be a payable additional buyer's stamp duty of 12%. So for a $1 million property, they will need to pay an additional $120,000.
This is a painful amount. Imagine the amount of time that is needed to save up to this $120,000, and they use it to pay tax to the government just like that. They can use this amount to pay for part of the down payment for another property.
That's right. Part 2, we'll also have to take into account the monthly cash flow they'll get from renting out the HDB flat. Okay, assuming the couple rents out the entire HDB flat at $2,000 per month, it will take 60 months to gain back the $120,000. That is 5 years.
Also, at the same time, it is 5 years of paying out of your own pocket for the monthly installment fees for your new property.
So far, all seems pretty clear, but what makes this plan so risky?
Now, the main reason that forced this couple to reconsider other plans instead is the accrued interest portion.
When a HDB property is sold, the sales proceeds will be used to refund the principal amount used as well as the accrued interest into their CPF ordinary account.
Let us imagine that today you have used $400,000 from your CPF account to pay off your HDB flat. And assuming you pay off the full $400,000 using CPF, and if you were to sell on the 10th year, you will need to return back $112,000 CPF accrued interest on top of what you have drawn out. The total amount will be $512,000.
If you really think about this carefully, your cash proceeds will not be as high.
Yes, all the money still belongs to you when it is returned back to your CPF account, but the CPF accrued interest will wipe out all the cash proceeds you have.
Some people would decide against selling their HDB flat and rent it out instead.
Okay, assuming you decide to keep the HDB for rental and you do it for the long term. You accept the $120,000 additional buyer's stamp duty cost for keeping the flat.
You decide to keep the flat for 30 years. Guess what? At the end of 30 years, the accrued interest is now $439,000.
30 years later, in order to make cash from this HDB flat, you will need to sell it at $839,000 and above.
Is this really possible? Today, if the flat is 20 years old, 30 years later it becomes 50 years old.
Most likely, this will not happen no matter how optimistic you are.
So the question is, would you prefer to keep something newer that will easily appreciate faster, or would you still want to keep a 50-year-old HDB flat?
Let's imagine what happens 30 years later.
If you sell this 50-year-old flat at $500,000, you would have lost $339,000. This would have been your opportunity cost.
Let's look back at the yearly $24,000 cash you have collected from the rental of your flat.
About $10,000 goes off to pay your yearly CPF accrued interest. So now your positive cash flow is $14,000 per year.
At $14,000 per year, you will need 8.5 years to make back the additional buyer's stamp duty. You will make $301,000 based on $14,000 per year from the rental for the next 21.5 years. However, in terms of CPF, in the end, you will lose $339,000.
Now, looking back at this set of calculations, is this really a good investment?
Well, it depends on how you want to view your CPF, your future home, and financial standing in 30 years' time.
Maybe putting the $400,000 inside CPF for 30 years and getting back $839,000 sounds less risky.
The CPF system is not a bad one, we just need to know how to optimize it.
The question is this: are we making full use of this system to have a more financially secured retirement and better lifestyle?
This is the type of issue that needs careful consideration from knowledgeable property consultants. Feel free to speak to us to understand your current situation so you know what your options are.
We provide free consultation for those who want to make changes to your property portfolio. Do remember to like and share our video. Thank you for watching.